Welcome to using NetSuite to manage your call reports. In this module, we'll talk about how to use NetSuite to add new activities, whether they be site visits or phone calls, to help you better keep track of the conversations you've had with your customers or the conversations you've had to move forward within opportunities. To add a general activity to your call report, first you need to find out which customer you want to add it to. The easiest way to do that is to scroll down to your personal customer list and simply type the name of the customer you went to see. So if I went to see Caterpillar in Corinth, I might type cat in the customer field. This will give me all of my customers that include the word cat, and I can easily identify that in Corinth, I have this particular Caterpillar account. I'll select that account by hitting the eyeball or view button, and that will take me to the customer record. To log my activity, I'll scroll down on the screen and find the Communication tab. I can see within that activity screen that I have the option for New Task, Log Task, New Phone Call, or Log Phone Call. If I am scheduling an activity for future use, that is, if I want to say, don't forget to call somebody at Caterpillar in a few days, I would use New Phone Call. If I'm simply trying to log that I placed a phone call, I would use Log Phone Call. And the same is true for site visits. If I want to remind myself to schedule a site visit in the future, I would use New Task. If I want to log a site visit I've already made, I would use Log Task. For the sake of this conversation, we will use the Log Task icon. It's going to pop you up a form, and all you need to do is simply fill out the form. For a site visit, I'm going to use title Site Visit. Obviously, for a phone call or email, I would use the title Phone Call or the title Email. If what I talked about on my visit is an opportunity that is currently in the funnel, I'll check Is in Funnel. And if I completed a demo, I'll check the Demo box. For the sake of this conversation, we'll say we were following up on an opportunity that is in the funnel. The task completed date will automatically default to today's date. The system assumes that you're staying on top of things and logging each day's visits accordingly. If that is not correct, simply change the date to the date on which you actually made the site visit. If you'd like to specify a time, you can click the Reserve Time box and add a start and end time for your visit. Next, we'll scroll down to where it says Message and talk about any topics discussed or discovery information that came about as a result of the call. In this case, we'll say we talked about the dust collection opportunity within the facility, and we can add as much or as little detail as we need to personally know what the next action steps are and where we're at in the conversation. Simply writing talked about dust collection doesn't give us enough information to know what are we going to do going forward. So our topic discussed might have been dust collection within the facility, and we also want to say that we gathered data necessary to present an ROI. The next action step then for this particular site visit will be to compile, complete, and present the ROI. Okay? Once I've filled out the basics of what the site visit was about, I can then go to the Related Records tab and select the contact to whom I spoke. In this case, we'll say I spoke to Brian Ballou at Caterpillar. And I can even, if this call resulted in a quotation, go to the transaction tab, type the word quote, and it'll pull me up the most recent quotes associated with this account. In this case, we'll say quote 106719 was generated as a result of my site visit, and hit save. That's it. I have logged my site visit. I can then look and see that I have a complete running of how often I have visited this facility and what conversations I've had. Looks like I scheduled a site visit in January, actually attended the site February 5th, again February 27th, again April 9th, August 18th, and again today on August 19th. This allows me to constantly know where I'm at with each of my accounts, how long it's been since I've been there, and if I drill into each of these opportunities, I can see what we talked about when I was on site. Additionally, I can log phone calls. You'll see here that there's a phone call logged on January 27th, which is how I managed to schedule that site visit. To log a phone call, simply hit log phone call and fill in the information the same way you would on a site visit. What did you talk about? What's the next action step? Who did you talk to? And what's the subject? With phone calls, the default is to reserve a time, but again, if you'd rather not, simply uncheck that button. If you want to schedule yourself an activity at future times, you can do so by saying new task or new phone call. In this case, I'll select new phone call, and I'll remind myself within NetSuite that I want to make this call. All I've got to do is say, call Brian about the ROI for the PVs, right? I want to make sure that I'm reminding myself who I'm going to call and what I'm going to call about. The contact is going to be Brian Ballou, and it's going to pull Brian's phone number here into the phone number field. It will ask me when I want to schedule this phone call. It's going to default to today, but I'm going to say, no, I want to call him on Monday, and I am going to reserve a time. I'm going to call him at 8:30 a.m. It'll then ask me, how do I want to be reminded of this? So I can say, I want to be reminded, I don't want to be reminded, or I want to be reminded with an email. In this case, the system is now set to send me an email 15 minutes prior to my 8:30 start time. Excuse me, I put it in end time, but you'll have a start time and an end time that you can reserve. So in this case, I've told myself that on 8:25 at 8:30 a.m., I want to call Brian about the ROI for the pulse valves at Caterpillar. It's going to give me his phone number, and then down here I can add more details about what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the completed ROI, presentation, and when we can present it. Right. That's all I'm doing here is reminding myself that at a later date I want to make this phone call, and I can hit save. When I do this, I'm going to get an automatic email reminder 15 minutes prior to the time I selected that'll simply say, call Brian about the ROI for the pulse valve. Once I have done that, I can go back into this future phone call, edit it, and change the status from scheduled to completed and hit save. Now the system will know I did complete the phone call on 8:25 at 8:30 and go from there. So again, log task or log phone call if you're looking to show that you've already completed something, new task or new phone call if you're looking to remind yourself to do that activity at a future time. Once you have logged all your activities for a day, you're through with your call report. There's no need to send a spreadsheet or any other completed call report information on Monday mornings. Your sales manager can then go in and pull the call report from the system. So I'll pull up this search called call report, and I'll look for it. any activities that were added this week and were assigned to John Wilson. And I'll have a system-generated call report. And you'll see that so far I've got 3 site visits and 1 phone call, 3 tasks and 1 phone call. With different customers, it'll tell me who did they talk to, what kind of activity it was, what we talked about, what next action steps, if any, are necessary, and if there are any transactions associated with it. You see, when I selected this quote, it pulled in the transaction total of the quote, and I now know that this week in my activities, I've generated $22,203.76 worth of quotes through my site visits and phone calls. If you have any questions regarding your call report, please do not hesitate to ask, as we are always here to help. If not, thank you so much for watching, and happy selling.